Welcome to Science Snippets. I'm your host, Mr. Leibner, here with my co-host,
Mrs. Ansel. We love Earth science, and we're here to talk about some current events in the field.
So buckle up and get ready to blast off, because Earth science rocks! In this episode of Science Snippets, we look at two articles related to space science. The first is on NASA's plans to get back to the moon, and the second is on Blue Origin and their future plans for a space station. Both articles will be linked in the description.
Did you know, and you probably did know this, but
Is this part of it? Is this staying in here?
This is it.
Are we going?
This is the business.
Let's hit it.
That humans have not been
Where haven't we been?
to the moon since the Apollo mission in 1972.
I did know that.
Okay.
I did know that.
So there's big plans right now to go back to the moon. But it's not just to land on the moon. We're talking about making something that orbits the moon that we can stay in, making somewhat permanent fixtures on the moon for people and scientists to live and work on. So they have looked at, they're thinking that they can finally do their first launch in February of 2022 in order to, it's an uncrewed launch. It's what they'll call Artemis 1, where they'll put the...
Who's they? Who's launching this thing?
Okay, this is just not going well for me. NASA. NASA's launching this.
This is going great.
Okay.
We're keeping it. This is all in the show.
Gotcha. So they're hoping in February 2022 that the Space Launch System rocket, which is what will be the most powerful rocket once it's launched that's ever been launched, to do an uncrewed mission around the moon. It will also go thousands of miles, at least it was thousands of miles further than any spacecraft that is capable of carrying people has ever gone. Okay, so it will be launched. It'll have the...
You want a factoid while you're thinking?
Yeah, please.
So currently, the one that holds that record is Apollo 13, if I'm not mistaken.
Nice.
Apollo 13 that they made the movie about is the furthest humans have ever been away from our planet, which would also mean then that it's the furthest object that can carry humans.
Okay, that's awesome.
Well,
so this new rocket, the Space Launch System rocket, which is 332 feet tall, will be the next most powerful rocket. And it will go the furthest. Now, in its mission in February, if it goes, it was supposed to go in November, but now it's in February, will not have any people on it then. It'll still be a while out before the crew is able to take the rocket up.
so did you see the reason for the power, for the strength of this rocket? Is it related to the payload? Or is it related to the distance, or do you have any idea? Or is it both?
I think it's both. So it has to carry, right now they're putting that Orion, is that how you say it? Orion?
I would say Orion.
Orion?
That's what I would say. Maybe I'm wrong.
No, you're probably right.
Let's go with Orion.
No.
It's
stop.
like Oreos, but on.
It's like Oreos. Maybe I'm just hungry.
Yeah.
Okay. The Orion crew
We'll keep it.
capsule, which will be in that lunar
Okay.
pattern. I can't.
Orbit?
Yep, that's it.
Okay.
Yep. So
this is all focused on building towards lunar bases eventually.
yes,
Correct.
all this Artemis mission that is run by NASA, but also
What do they gain from having something that orbits the moon instead of something that's on the moon? Is that so they have something to dock with that doesn't have to take off again?
Yes, what they're hoping is, and I'm trying to pull
Oh, what a
up
good
here.
graphic that is.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
Where's that from? We're going to link.
NASA.
There's a graphic we're looking at right now. From NASA. In addition to the article,
It just
we'll
showed it.
link both in the
Darn it. Okay, go ahead.
in the description to this podcast.
Yeah, they have these whole setup of. Hold on. This is why I should have brought my notes.
You don't need notes. You're doing great.
Okay. Of all their plans. So I believe that the orbit one is so that they can easily get to and from. No. It just will carry astronauts to Earth, to lunar orbit, and back. That's what Orion will do. But there's something they're going to put in there called Gateway, which will remain in orbit, and it is a place so that they can have regular missions and make it easier for that. But there will be a base camp, which they can stay and remain on the moon to do more explorations and studies. They're hoping that
What kind of stuff are they wanting to study on the moon still? Why go back, I guess? I guess it's a launch point for further missions out into space rather than about the moon itself.
Yeah.
Or are they trying to find resources on the moon?
That'd be a good thing to find an article about.
Sure.
Because, it's a good question. What else do they want? I don't know. I know they made it a big deal that these astronauts and scientists that will be going will be more diverse. Like there's a woman and there's different ethnicities going on this mission. So NASA was very excited about.
And this is a NASA mission. This is not an international.
It is, but they are collaborating with private agencies and stuff like that on this.
Neat.
So this will take place at the Kennedy Space Center in Cape Canaveral is where this will launch from.
Okay. And it's scheduled right now for February, you said?
Yep.
Cool.
Yep.
Cool.
So.
Man, you know way more about yours than I do. Mine's going to be a letdown after all that.
I feel like there's a lot of white space in the middle of that where I was thinking.
Well, the good news is that's what makes good radio or podcast is dead air.
Does it?
Yeah, I read that somewhere, probably.
Dead air's always the best.
That's how you capture them. You build suspense. If you just pause for a long time, it's like in the middle of a conversation.
What are they going to say? Like, I can hardly wait to hear about your article right now because of all the
conversation.
Dead space.
See, there it is. You insert it, and then it builds anticipatory excitement.
All right.
That's not a thing. All right, move on. Got it.
Can't wait.
So my article's from Digital Trends. I don't have the information that you have. I'm not as good at note-taking as you are. But this one is by a guy named Trevor Mogg, M-O-G-G. And it was just written yesterday, in fact, on October 25th. And it's talking about Blue Origin's plans to build a space station for commercial purposes.
Okay.
Which is interesting to me.
Yes.
So, couple of things going on. The article's called Blue Origin Wants to Build a Space Station for Exotic Hospitality. So, Jeff Bezos has this company, Blue Origin, which is essentially competing, I guess, air quotes maybe, for privatization contracts in space. So SpaceX does a lot of their stuff for NASA. They contract out a lot of resupply stuff for the space station. That's their biggest source of income, as I understand it. They're kind of using that revenue to fund some of their other interests. Blue Origin hasn't really made it that far yet. So they haven't even put anything into orbit yet.
Okay.
For a sustained period of time. Certainly nothing with people in it. And they've got some of these plans a little bit long term that they want to have a space station in low Earth orbit that people can petition or essentially attempt to gain a spot on it for a little while and then do what they want to do with it. So it's kind of like you're renting the space on the space station. They likened it to like a business park. So there's businesses that rent out the units and then they do whatever their business does, right? So whether it's
like getting box seats on a space station.
Yeah. Okay. Yes. Box seats. So there's a few things going on here.
Right.
Number one is they want to offer the opportunity to partner with NASA. So that is there. But they're moving forward whether NASA signs on to this or not. So whether or not they get NASA's involvement, it sounds like they want this to happen. They're calling it the Orbital Reef. So it's a collection of capsules that are linked to a central capsule. It kind of looks more, the International Space Station kind of looks like a flying H.
Yeah.
This is about the same size, but it's more cylindrical with things coming off of the main stem or the main tube, however you want to describe it. So it's a little bit different looking, but one of the functions of this thing is to perhaps be the next replacement. They are working with Boeing on this. They are working with Sierra Space. So they're not just doing this on their own. Boeing is the one that they're trying to get to create and build some of the additional capsules and things like that. And they're essentially going to be the logistics people for it.
So are they hoping to mix the recreation and these privatized with actual scientists and research on this same unit?
Yeah, so the International Space Station right now is 20 years old, right? So it's working towards the end of its life whenever that happens. Some are saying within the next 5 years they're going to work towards decommissioning it. And so this is one of the options if NASA is looking to re-engage into a space station level of scientific exploration.
Okay.
So yeah, they're wanting to tap into some research endeavors for sure for themselves as well as for other people, but they're also wanting to open it up broader than that, whether it's recreational time in space or whether it's a privatized group like maybe SpaceX. Maybe SpaceX doesn't have a space station, so maybe they want to borrow a room in it, for lack of a better term, or a capsule, and then do some research for a while and then turn it loose. But it's got me thinking, they haven't yet put anything into orbit. So these are great plans. I love it. It's exciting. It's fun. But at what point do you sign up for it? So let's say that Mrs. Ansel is ready to go to the space station.
Let's go.
How many trips do you need to see successful before you're comfortable going?
I mean, I would definitely want other human beings up there for a while before I would be comfortable stepping foot.
2 years? 10 years?
I'd say 2 with all the research we have now. And knowing that they're working with Boeing and hopefully partnering with NASA at some point would then give me more of a comfort level.
So because they don't have experience, but the people they're working with do, that would put you at ease a little bit.
A little bit more.
Is this something you would do? Would you actually do this?
Yeah. How long are you staying up there?
Well, I don't know. I guess you're renting the
I don't
space.
have the money for it. Maybe.
I think that's another component.
So I'm thinking this is going to be crazy expensive. And how long are you staying up there? If you're not the scientist, if you are just someone that has put in their name in a hat, and I'm guessing you're not just don't get your name picked and you get to go. You have to contribute an excessive amount of money.
I would think, and I guess that's the other part, is that piece brings another challenge. So even though this is commercially available, it's not really available. Like we're not going.
Yeah.
Right. Teachers aren't going unless somebody else is paying the bill.
Right.
So the people that can go are maybe a company purchases some time or a ticket or however that works, and then the company sends whoever they deem appropriate to carry out the research or the design of their mission or whatever it is. They've got a really snazzy video about this thing on this article.
Is it orbiting at the same sort of place that the International Space Station is?
Well, it's low Earth orbit, so it's close.
Lower.
I don't know exactly where it is.
All right.
There's several different levels, but it's not going to be crazy far off. I mean, it's not all the way up where Hubble is. It's much closer, more aligned with where
I also wonder,
ISS is now.
When you do this kind of thing, do you have to get it approved? It has to be approved by someone.
No.
Are they approved? No.
No,
You can
space is not regulated. Space is not regulated by anyone. Now, launch sites are.
Okay.
So, you have to clear flight plans, and I don't know what the term for that, rocketry plans. Maybe it's just flight plan. I don't know. So, if you're launching out of Houston or Jupiter or wherever you're launching out of, then you have to get that approved through that state entity, whoever's controlling that. But as far as space itself, literally anybody can put anything in space right now and do essentially whatever they want.
Okay.
I guess until you feel like you're threatening another group, and if that group feels threatened, then maybe they deal with it. But right now, space is totally unregulated.
Well, that's wild.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so fun stuff. I don't know. I don't think I'm on board with this yet. I wonder at what point do you go into the space station? How you go on vacation, and then after 6 days in a row, you're like, okay, I've seen this. Let's move on. At what point in space are you like, okay, I've seen the planet.
I've seen the planet. I mean, is there a pool? There's no beach there, obviously.
There's not. And some of the stuff in their video, which to that point I thought was interesting, which kind of to me shows some of their infancy in this, and maybe it's just I don't understand it. Some of the capsules, there's one that has a great picture of this pentagonal capsule, and it's got these walls all the way around it, and there's greenage, foliage of some sort of plant life growing from essentially every direction, and it's really cool. And then there's another one that looks like a lab or a classroom with a floor and a ceiling that are obviously defined as such. And in a space station, you don't need that. So I wonder, obviously they're new in their stuff, but there's a lot to be fleshed out here.
It's sort of reminding me of that Mars project we looked at.
I got that vibe
all
too. Mars
that,
One.
Yes,
now,
they had
these
all
guys,
that great stuff. Like these guys seem like they have a little more backing.
Yeah, they've
It's a
got some
little
credibility
more
that
feasible.
Mars One
of a
does not
mission,
have.
But
I don't know. I'm not ready to sign up. I don't know.
I mean, I would love to go eventually, but it won't.
I think it would be neat to
it
see.
Would
but
happen.
I'm not sure how much time I need to spend there.
Not much for me. Unless I had something to do, I would get bored quick. I'd have to have a purpose.
What would you take? What would be your recreation that you could take?
Oh.
No, well.
What would I, for recreation?
Yeah.
Probably a book.
What book?
Oh, I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know what I'd be reading at the time. I have no one particular book. What about you? What would you take? Besides your toothbrush, because obviously you're going to take that.
I would definitely take a toothbrush.
A hairbrush. Oh, no. Never mind.
Okay. All right. So that's where we are. All right. Well, and that's where we're going to end off today with a little light persecution. So thanks for watching or listening. Sorry. And we'll catch you next time. Bye, guys.
See ya. Thanks for listening to Science Snippets. If you like this podcast, feel free to subscribe.
If you didn't like this podcast, you're wrong. If there's an article you're interested in hearing us discuss, please leave a comment.
Thanks, friends. And until next time.